There's a new street fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace, the word is chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour. And we have got a fun one today. I've started a new kind of venture. Do you remember? Maybe it was quite a popular video. A friend of mine sent me a box of rubbish. Basically, a bunch of figures that he wasn't going to use anymore. And he thought, you know what? Do with them what you will. And I put them on eBay and sold them for a few quid. And that was great. And now I've just done a new sort of thing where it's like I'm asking people to send me their trash and I'll put it on eBay and I will give them whatever money I get from them. So I get to do a fun unboxing and they maybe get a few quid for stuff that would have otherwise been thrown away or just collecting dust. And now I have a huge assortment of WWE figures that a friend of mine has given me, and he's like, go nuts, do a fun unboxing, stick them on eBay, and whatever they make, they make. So let's see the mystery box of WWE figures. I've got them all down here, transferred to a huge big bag, and I haven't gone through these yet. I wanted the surprise of looking at them on camera. So let's take a look, because I am a huge pro wrestling fan. I grew up obsessed with WWF, WWE, and now, you know, I'm an adult and I see what a disgusting, scummy company the WWE is, but I still love pro wrestling. So AEW, New Japan, any other pro wrestling basically, but I still love the performers and what they do. So let's take a look at what is inside the mystery bag. First up, we have what a figure to get first. Oh my god, I think we peaked with the initial one right here. My hero, Bret the Hitman Hart. Oh gosh, this is like, seriously, my childhood hero, above and beyond. The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. That's my Bret Hart. Come on, tell me that's not a great Bret Hart. And speaking of great Bret Hart, this is, gosh, I might have to like ask if I can just buy this figure separately, because this is peak pinnacle Bret Hart. This is 1997 looking Bret Hart. I always like pink top, black trousers was always my favorite like color combination. He's got, oh yeah, actually this is totally 97 because he's got the 97 Hart Foundation logo on the back of his tights here. Oh, this is, I might have to keep this. The face is a little, it's not like great, like photorealistic, but it's decent. But this is, I think we might have just peaked with the figures right here. This Bret Hart, I love the black piping on the pink. It just as a like graphic design sort of costume, Bret Hart's gear is just so awesome. That's wonderful. That's a great figure. I love Bret Hart, man. I've got to meet him on like two occasions. They were just like autograph signings, but that was the only autograph signing where, because I'm not an autograph person, but when I saw the chance to meet Bret Hart, I was like, yeah, we're gonna do this. And he's just the coolest son of a gun. All right, now we have Daniel Bryan, another favorite of mine. I love Daniel Bryan because he seems like such a down-to-earth, nice human being. This figure is a very different make. I have no idea what the makers of this is, but it looks kind of cheap, kind of tacky and plasticky, with sort of spring-loaded type arms. Yeah, not a great figure in comparison. Like this is a really decent, nice figure. These have all probably been like played with by kids. They have scratches and dings and dents and stuff. Well, not dents, but like paint rub. Yeah, this figure feels very cheap. Oh, I see. He's like, yeah. So there's a kind of a thing going on there, but still, I'm just going to sell these all as a bundle. So, you know, they'll fetch what they fetch. All right, now we have, Big E Langston from the New Day. And okay, this is quite fun. I like he's got the full New Day ice cream ridiculous singlet design going on here. This is fun, and they've captured the goofy expression, very animated looking face. That's really fun. I really like the New Day. It's such a shame that WWE are just like doing the same thing with them over and over. Although now Big E is actually, they're pushing him as a singles guy, but You know, unfortunately, even if the person themselves is really likable, they're only ever done through the mirror of WWE writing and scripting. So you can see that Big E is probably a really cool guy, but he's being filtered through their own image. What I love about Big E in particular is that when the whole, Black Lives Matter movement and stuff came out, like, he was really at the forefront of it, pushing it, promoting it, speaking his mind. And WWE, you could tell it was great because they probably didn't like him doing it, but they couldn't do anything about it. And that's a really nice thing to see. So I've got a lot of time for Big E, and that's a decent looking figure. Now we have, ladies, lock up your handbags. It's Randy Orton, and this looks like an older figure. You can see there's a lot of paint rub and stuff going on here. This figure's been played with. He's got his look on him. The tattoos are quite nicely done, actually. There's a decent amount of detail in the tattoos, but yeah, this is more this Daniel Bryan type figure here. Randy Orton, I think we can all agree, is an excellent in-ring competitor, but he's what you would call a mechanic. He's not the most exciting performer, but I'm sure that WWE love him because they can just put him in a match and just guarantee, well, it's going to be a decent match. And that's about it. From what we understand, he was a real piece of work when he was younger, but maybe he's mellowed out a little bit. I like the fact that he's actually very rude and abrasive on social media. I'm like, I kind of like that. But all right, now we have, oh God. Okay, this is 2007 era Triple H. Triple H. This is when he was going through his babyface, handlebar moustache, King of Kings. Just no one, to talk. I love the expression, a legend in their own mind. And that's Triple H right here. Was never the performer or the charismatic type person that he thought that he was, or has now positioned himself historically to be. That's where you can really believe history is written by the winners. And hey, he won. And I do like the mythology of the story that apparently, he walked into the WWE locker room in like 1995 and he said, one day I'm going to run this place. And in fairness, he wasn't wrong. Although I also love the fact that, he's one divorce away from losing everything. So it's like, best mind your P's and Q's, buddy. Also, I love salty Bret Hart. I think there's been plenty of interviews where Bret Hart has slammed Triple H, not from like a bitter kind of way, but just being like, yeah, I'd say he's about a 4 out of 10, kind of a wrestler. It's like, oh, you're such a savage, Bret. Now then, we have, another New Day member. We got Kofi, and this is a more modern, this is a decent looking figure here. We got Kofi, with his wonderful Arabian type unicorn boots here. Kofi is another person who I was a big fan of. I loved his work style and ethic. It was such a shame that they had him win, we matched with the oranges, that they had him win the WWE title only to, that's the thing. WWE will so often say like, they're the champion, so they're the figurehead, they've made it. And it's like, have they? Because if you win the WWE title in a mid-card match at Mania, it's the equivalent of winning the Intercontinental title. They can be like, oh no, we made you world champion. Yeah, but you didn't really, did ya? It was like when they made Benoit world champion, but still it was Triple H who dominated everything. It's like, if you're in the mid-card as champion, then you're not really... they try to position it where it's like, if you're the champion, then you've attained the same status as Hulk Hogan and The Rock and Steve Austin. It's like, no, you haven't. Don't try and pretend that you've elevated Kofi Kingston to that level, because you didn't. And then you jobbed him out to Brock Lesnar in 9 seconds or whatever it was. And I felt so bad for this guy that they wouldn't even let him have any kind of follow-up story or anything. It was like, no, you're done now. Back to the mid-card, where he was to begin with anyway. He never really ascended. And that's so unfair because both of these guys were worthy of so much more. WWE. He's going to get me given out for about half an hour with these different figures. Rey Mysterio. They're definitely an older looking figure here again as well. Ray, another guy I'm a big fan of. And actually, from what I hear, this dude's really savvy as well, as far as contracts and getting good deals and not being taken for taken advantage of. And I really dig that. But this is a guy, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's apparently So many wrestlers, you say like, I had no idea they were so big until I saw them in person. And I think Rey's like, you have no idea how small he actually is until you see him like in person. It's like, wow, you are a tiny guy, but like huge, built like a brick privy. And Rey, he was one of the just standout highlight performers anytime you see him. This figure looks a bit ropey. I like that they actually sculpted his mask to be undone. That's kind of cool. But this is definitely one of the older, chunkier looking figures. So I'll put him over here. Subconsciously, I've been dividing like the the good figures and the not so good figures. But yeah, poor old Rey. It's amazing that he's been going for as long as he has with his knees that are clearly made out of cobwebs and pixie dust. Yeah, he's still going. And some would say, better than a lot of, of the younger talent. Because he knows how to work. Look at this. I can never remember if it's Luke or Butch, but either way. Whoa! Yay! The Bushwhackers. The Bushwhackers were guys who it's like, they were so iconic in the late 80s and the early 90s. Like, I would always be watching wrestling, and my dad would always, he'd ask, oh, they still got those guys? Still got the guys who do the whoa? I'm like, yeah, they still got them, Dad. But yeah, you've got Luke and Butch here. And these are the more modern looking, nicer figures. These are pretty good. Like, these are kind of like Marvel Legends style. They haven't got a thigh swivel, but they've got nice articulation. That's a decent face sculpt as well. Again, I can't remember if it's Luke or Butch. I say remember. I never really knew. I always just put them together. It's Luke and Butch, the Bushwhackers. But nice detail on the tattoos as well. He's got his proper navy-looking tattoos there. And the Bushwhackers, I was always amazed when I found out that, these goofy, kiddie characters were like brutal blood and guts hardcore wrestlers. They were the New Zealand sheep herders back in the early 80s and like hyper violent. And then they went to WWE and just, became cartoon characters. But hey, it's an easier way to make a living. All right. Oh, good gravy. We have Naya Jax. Although actually like a nice looking figure. This is well made, well sculpted and crafted. This is definitely one of the more modern looking figures and a decent face sculpt as well. I mean, what I'll say about Nia Jax is, two things. Like, incredibly beautiful. I can see why she is a model. She's stunningly beautiful face, and also I love the fact that she is a bigger, fuller figured person, because I hate like the cookie cutter sort of approach. Like, so many, like, pro wrestling in the 80s and the early 90s was great. You had like Earthquake and big fat guys, big roidy magoos, smaller guys. It was a great combination, whereas WWE got into a stage where it was all just like this, beautiful hairless lifeguard was their standard go-to, and it was boring. So it was great to have someone with a different kind of physique. Unfortunately, she seems to be incredibly clumsy in the ring and very dangerous. And every time I see her wrestling someone smaller than her, I'm like, oh, please don't hurt them. It doesn't look like she takes good care of her opponents, and so she's kind of unlikable in that regard. So that's a shame. Maybe she does take good care of her opponents and she's just really unlucky. But either way, I'm like, I wouldn't trust you to open a can of beans that's already open. So that's Nia Jax. Now then, hey, R-Truth, or K-Quick, if you will. Time to get rowdy. I can't tell if this is an older figure or a newer figure, because he's quite thick and chunky like these ones, but he's got a slightly more detail going on there, but either way, he sort of fits in the middle. I've always appreciated R-Truth. He's someone who clearly just has a good time doing what he's doing. I liked him when he first debuted in the year 2000. Incredibly, 20 years later, still looks exactly the same. Just the two of us, just aging like fine wine. But he's someone who rises above the garbage that WWE gives him. And I still remember, like, one of the only genuinely funny scripted moments was when he came out to cut a Money in the Bank promo. And the guys were like, "You're not in Money in the Bank." And he's like, "Oh, am I not? I assumed I was. Sorry, my bad. Y'all carry on." That was great. So yeah, I do like R-Truth. Oh, finally, you can't have a collection of WWE figures without Stone Cold. Y'all gonna do an unboxing without Stone Cold? How can you, you dumb son of a bitch, try and have an unboxing without Stone Cold Steve Austin? I love old Stone Cold. Say what you will about him or some of his private life, but he's great. He is, I mean, you talk about an icon, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, come on, greatest match in history. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret the Hitman Hart, WrestleMania 13. Oh, what a story. That is peak pro wrestling right there. WrestleMania 13, these two guys. And yeah, this is a decent figure. Again, he doesn't have any torso articulation or anything, or no thigh swivel or anything like that, but still, this is a decent Stone Cold figure. He's got the one leg brace with the tattoo under there. That's kind of cool, having the tattoo there. This was when Steve Austin was still like great. Once bless his heart, he had to go to 2 knee braces. That's when you're like, I feel bad for you, man. Such a shame that his career was kind of cut short. But at the same time, when he retired, that's when WWE was getting a bit garbage anyway. Like, he could have stayed on for another 10 years, but it would have been 10 more years in WWE, which wasn't very good anyway. So, you know, he was great while wrestling was great. And really, that's all that matters. So that's Stone Cold looking cool there. Hello, pretty lady. Anybody want a peanut? Andre the Giant. And look, they actually do scale him very well. He's not as thick as Andre was, towards the end of his career. Because Andre was huge around as well. This is a very slim, very svelte Andre the Giant. But it's decent. He's got, I love, look at the eyes. That's a real roar. That's the Jake has just taken the snake out of the bag expression there. And yeah, everyone always has so many great things to say about Andre. Like, Jake would sing his praises all the time, and I can understand how he was kind of a locker room leader and whatnot. And I'm sure his life must have been so difficult being the size that he was. But I never really saw Andre. I only saw him past his prime, obviously. So I never really saw like the mythical being that he was, but I'm sure that he was, considered so in that regard. This is a heck of a collection we've got here. This is quite amazing. This would probably go for a few shekels on eBay. Right, and there's still so many more. Oh, one of my favorites. AJ Styles. Now, AJ is one of those people who it's like, as a wrestler, oh my God, one of my all-time favorites. My greatest, most fun era, I think the best era of pro wrestling was New Japan in 2014 to 2016 when AJ was there leading the Bullet Club. So good. Does he have various political views that I probably don't agree with? Yeah. Is he still a great professional wrestler? Absolutely. This is a more modern figure as well. Some decent detail there. He's got his initials with the dates of his kids' birthdays going down there. That's very nice. Not too sure about the head sculpt. That's a big old forehead on AJ. That's a 5 head right there. So I'm not too sure about that. But still, this is a very, very decent, like all of the details on his trousers and stuff. Like, those are great. And I think the face sculpt is good. It is just, that's a really high forehead. It's a 5 head. So I'm not too sure about that. But I'll still put him in the decent figure section, or the more modern figure section there. Because yeah, a Bullet Club AJ Styles, so great. And he had some phenomenal matches in WWE. Like his matches with John Cena, incredible. Matches with Shinsuke Nakamura, let's not talk about those. All right, now we've got, wait, who do we... Is this the first person I don't recognize? Well, it had to happen eventually. Although it's weird, this is an older figure. Is this meant to be Chris Jericho? No, the trunks are too big to be Jericho. There's no markings on them of Y2J or anything, but I don't know who this is meant to be. Guys, help me out. Mark Jindrak, maybe? Is this Jindrak? God rest his soul? I don't know. I can't tell who this is. It looks a little bit Jericho-y when he had short hair, but no, I'm stumped. All right, guys, help me out. Help me out in the comments. Who is this guy? Because actually, this is an era. I'm sure if this is from like the mid 2000s, this is an era that I should be more familiar with, but I can't place who that's supposed to be. That's a mystery to me. All right, now we've got another Rey. we've got another Rey Mysterio with his tiny knees that are held together with duct tape. It's amazing that actually, like, I don't know what sort of treatment he's had to his knees, but he seems to move around so much better now than he did 10 years ago. And I think like he changed to the baggy pants to hide his knee braces, and now he's wearing, at least the last time I saw him, he was wearing tights, and he was moving around like a boss. So fair play to him. I saw some of his stuff with Dominic, his son, and whew, I'm sure the kid works hard, but his acting is like, Dad, why are you doing this? We need to work as a tag team, Dad. It's just so cringy. But yeah, this is a nice little figure. Good work on the tattoos there. Looks pretty cool. I'm going to put him with the more modern ones over. Yeah, I'm going to run out of space. We got a lot of figures here. So also, we now have it's John Cena. Your time is up. My time is now. And this is a decent looking figure. Again, you can see these have been played with as toys should. He's got lots of paint rub on the old hair there, or maybe his hair's just thinning like mine is. That was one thing you noticed with John Cena over the last couple of years. He's got the old bird's nest at the back of the head, just like yours truly has. And yeah, but this is, again, nice detail. He's got the C Nation armbands there, and like I'm a fan of John Cena. I think he is a decent wrestler, more so than people give him credit for. And if he's with the right opponent, he can have fantastic matches. When I see him on reality TV shows, he does look like a bit of a emotionless robot, but at the same time, that's your private life. You are who you are. And whenever I see John Cena in a movie, he is always entertaining, so charismatic, very funny. It's so weird how he's funny in movies, but on WWE TV, it's just WWE cringe comedy, which is just the worst. That's my only problem with John Cena as a performer, is I'm sure, he got so big, he could exercise some creative control. So I put a lot of the decisions down to him as well. But the fact that he would never sell a loss, it made the WWE Championship worthless. Because anytime he lost it, he'd be like, well, I'll just win it back again. And it's like, well, that's nothing. It was like when Brock Lesnar murdered him at SummerSlam, and it was like, oh, this is amazing. They're actually really doing something different. And then he gets murdered at SummerSlam, and then comes out and is like, oh, well, I guess I'll try harder next time. It's like, oh, geez, come on, man. If you don't sell anything, then it has no consequences. Oh, hey, how appropriate for an action figure bundle. We got Zack Ryder, Long Island IZ. If you don't know, Zack Ryder, the man himself, is a huge action figure nerd. He has his own YouTube channels, not as good as this one, obviously. But yeah, he's got a huge collection. He spends thousands on super rare WWE figures. And this is certainly one of the more modern figures as well. Nice detailing on his gear there. I was a fan of Zack Ryder, and I always thought it was such a shame that WWE saw him getting popular and squished him. And that was it. And it's again, that was one of those times where I was really drifting out of WWE, and I was just like, you are a scummy company, aren't you? This guy made himself super popular on his own, and you're like, nah, we don't want him to be popular, so we're just going to squish it. And that was the end of Zack Ryder. And oh, wow, this is an old school classic, and a nice figure as well. The Iceman. Dean Malenco. Stinko Malenco, as Chris Jericho would say. I always really liked Dean Malenco. I appreciate it though. I wasn't one of those fantasist wrestling fans who's like, oh, they should have pushed Dean Malenco to the moon. No, he didn't have much in the way of charisma, not even physical charisma. Because some people, they're not good on the mic, but they have physical charisma. Dean Malenco didn't have either kind of charisma. He was just a working dude. But I respect that. And again, phenomenal bell-to-bell wrestler. His ability to just have an insanely great technical wrestling match with anyone, beautiful. You could put me down in front of any Dean Malenco match, and I guarantee I'm going to be entertained by it. But yeah, he was only ever a mid-card mechanic, or as Steve Austin would say, a carpenter. They're using to build up other guys, which is fine because you need carpenters, you need mechanics in pro wrestling, and Dean Malenco was a great mechanic. But that's all I would say that he was. He was in some great angles with. I mean, it was Dean Malenco who Jericho did his most famous promo about with his list of 1,001 holds. Because of course Dean Malenco, as you can see on his tights here, was the man of 1,000 holds. And Chris Jericho was the man of 1,001 holds. Back when wrestling was good. Or, yeah, actually, because wrestling is still good. And that wasn't even in WWE when that was good. Okay. And Bret Hart, crown jewel so far. But right next to him, the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. The British Bulldog's gonna win, whether he wants to or not. I love the British Bulldog. Again, another hero. Oh my God, SummerSlam 92. I was old enough to have been there, man. And, Davey Boy Smith was, if you didn't grow up in the early 90s in WWE, in the early 90s in the world, in the UK is what I was trying to say, you don't know how big Davey Boy Smith was a big deal. He actually was, more so than wrestling itself. He would have articles in The Sun and stuff, and as a tabloid character, the news reported a bit on Davey Boy Smith. Not a huge amount, but more so than any other wrestling. So SummerSlam was a huge big deal. And when Davey Boy won the Intercontinental title, I think he's wearing his SummerSlam gear. This is because he's got like the lace up the side. This is the SummerSlam Davey Boy. So this is awesome. So Davey Boy and Bret Hart at SummerSlam, that was just peak WWE for me, and I loved both these guys. But of course, for SummerSlam, I was a huge Davey Boy Smith fan, and I was really surprised when the amount of people in Wembley Stadium were chanting for Bret. It was Bulldog, Hitman, Bulldog, Hitman. I was like, what? Don't support Bret. Cheer for the Bulldog. We're in England. But still, it goes to show just how phenomenal Bret was as well. And, immediately after that, when Bret won the title, I was like, oh, actually, no, Bret is my favorite. And especially reading Bret's autobiography, still one of the best autobiographies out there. He said how British Bulldog hadn't spoken to him for about a week or two before the SummerSlam match, and he had just been smoking crack with the anvil the whole time. And then, 2 minutes into the match, Bulldog's like, Bret, what are we doing? If you'll excuse the language, I'm fooked. I think I can get that through the algorithm because it was pronounced in the Bulldog's accent. All right. Oh, God. Jeez Louise. Dolph Ziggler. Speaking of, Triple H is a legend in his own mind, and I think so is this guy. At least Triple H has the career highlight package to back it up. Dolph is one of those guys who's, again, I just don't think, just because you can, shout a lot in a promo and seem passionate doesn't make you charismatic. Don't mistake passion for charisma. You can scream and shout and rant and rave, because that was the thing with Dolph Ziggler. He'd have years and years of mediocrity, then he would cut one promo about how from this day forward, I'm going to show the world that I'm going to be the star I always knew I could be, and it begins tonight. And then it's coming up next on Velocity, Dolph Ziggler. He would always make these great proclamations about how he's going to turn his career around and show the world what he can actually be. And then it's nope, business as usual. And I know so much of that, if WWE wanted to push him to the moon, they could do. But they clearly made it obvious that they're not going to do that. This is a guy who would benefit if he took a year out and went and wrestled somewhere else. He could increase his value so much. But I understand how if you're collecting a cushy, big money paycheck from WWE and you're not breaking your back doing it, I understand how you might want to just carry on. But then don't pretend like you're a legend, because you're not. You're a guy who was there for a long time. Oh, hey, we finally have the third member of the New Day, Xavier Woods. From Angel Grove. I remember his NXT gimmick was he was Mr. 90s, and that was really fun. So from Angel Grove, Xavier Woods, and I like this dude. When he first broke out the trombone, I thought this is a fun gimmick. But yeah, we have all three New Day members here, so that's a pretty cool set already. This is a good haul. We're nearly gone for half an hour now. This is crazy. But yeah, Xavier Woods there, more power to him. All right, we still got, we still have a lot of figures here. I'm gonna scooch these guys off the table because I'm running out of space here. Right, who have we got next? I mean, these guys alone, these modern ones are terrific. Hey, it's one of the older figures. It's the Rated R Superstar, the man who's going to be main eventing WrestleMania this year, alongside Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, who is inexplicably turned heel, even though he's come back from 10 years out. And it's like, that's the problem with WWE is they're a scummy company run by scummy people. So when they write the words and the scripts for everyone, they write them in their own voices, which are scummy and unlikable. Therefore, a guy who is naturally, you see Edge in interviews and stuff, and he just comes off as like a really nice, genuine guy. But then as soon as they put him through the WWE lens, he becomes an awful person because it's like, well, you've been written by awful people. So unfortunately, like they've turned him heel, and Edge is great as a heel. He's a great heel performer, but it's like it should be so easy to make this guy a babyface, and they just can't do it because they don't know how good people actually behave. But this is an older figure, so a bit chunkier, not quite as much detail, but still one of the nicer older figures here. All right, what else have we got? Whoa, Rey Mysterio is popular. We have a third Rey Mysterio. Oh wow, with yeah, there you go. This is very loosey goosey here, but I think this is Rey from SummerSlam, maybe 2007, maybe? I'm not sure when it was, but he came back as like the Silver Surfer, just all this body paint, all this silver body paint all over him, which is like, you can see it's like rubbed off, but there is like remnants of paint on there. So it's him from the end of the match. But I remember when he came back after that particular hiatus, he looked chunky. He looked really chunky, and he lost a lot of weight post that time. I see he's missing a hand as well. But hey, as I said, these toys have clearly been properly played with kids, and that's cool. It's nice to see that, you know, some toys are actually purchased to be played with as toys. I know, baffling, isn't it? Who does that? All right, okay, well, this definitely is Chris Jericho, as you can tell from the fact that he has Jericho written on him no less than 4 times. So there you go. And this is from the post Y2J. This is from the quiet. This was Jericho popularized the slow talking heel wearing a suit. And then don't get me wrong, heels have been wearing suits for years, but he had this very slow, deliberate delivery, which he said he took from Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. And I can see that. And then a whole bunch of heels started copying that style. So, you know, Jericho will take credit for inventing a lot of things, but in fairness, he did seem to popularize that around the early 2000s, or mid 2000s. Either way, that was kind of his thing, I feel. Right, last couple of figures. Oh, geez, I say that. There's actually quite a lot here. Oh, we got modern Triple H. This is a decent one, actually. I kind of like this. Time to play the game. The thing is, again, like, I like Triple H, just not as much as he thinks people like him. That's the only difficulty. This is decent though. This is a nice figure. You can see that the more modern designs are a lot slimmer looking. They're not as puffy and chunky as these old ones. But the detail, the printing, just the printing of the logos on the gear is really nice. The boots also, the detailing on the boots is really great. Triple H benefited so much from cutting his hair. Because also, like, fair play to him, he actually has a really good head of hair. Even in his older years, you can tell, like, he's got a good hairline. He just cut his hair because he's the executive of a company and not a member of Motley Crue. He always looked like such a dork. It's true. Like, no, try hard. Try hard is the word for Triple H. Always so desperate to look cool. But there you go. That's a good looking figure. I'm thinking these are going to get a decent little price on eBay. I mean, not like insane, but, you know, pretty good. So what else have we got? Aha! Another Edge. Another Rated R Superstar. Again, this is an older looking figure here. So not as much detail, not as much articulation. A little chunkier, but still decent enough. So I'll put him over with the older figures over yonder. Now we got we have another John Cena. Not as good as the other Cena, I don't think. This is maybe slightly older. That's a goofy ass looking face. doesn't do himself many favors there in the cool factors. But there we are with his bright colored trainers. If I was a customizer, you could use so many parts and things from these different figures, but I'm not a big customizing type person, or at all, actually, just because I don't have any kind of skill in that regard. Right, we are getting down to the last few. Oh, we have the other Bushwhacker, either Luke or Butch, but we've got his brother. Are they brothers or cousins? I assume they're brothers. But they actually, I remember their Hall of Fame induction speech was quite good fun. One of them was on crutches, bless his heart, which you can imagine, like, all those years will take its toll on the body. But yeah, there we go. There's the other Bushwhacker there. And now we have... Oh, geez Louise. Baron Corbin. Someone who, again, you can see like why WWE love him, because he's tall, and also because he seems in his, again, you don't know. I'm not pretending to know these people, but from his social media posts, he seems like a bit of a dick. Which probably means that WWE love him, because he's just that kind of a person. The tattoos on his arms look excellent. They're really, really nicely done. The detail on those are fantastic. And again, I'm not calling Baron Corbin a dick. I'm just saying that he clearly has that kind of take no guff type personality. Because again, like, he's one of those people who, you know, the internet fans will talk trash about, and he's like, yeah, you're all a bunch of marks. And I kind of respect that. All right, now we got Bray Wyatt, the older version of Bray Wyatt there, looking extremely goofy, with his Let Me In lamb shirt. The printing of all the logos and t-shirts and stuff looks great. This feels like an older, chunkier kind of figure. Bray Wyatt, I always really wanted to like when he came in with this gimmick, but what annoyed me was everyone was saying like, oh, you know, he's got amazing promos like Jake the Snake. And then I was like, guys, he has the delivery like Jake the Snake, but the thing is, Jake's promos actually made sense and had a point. The problem with Bray Wyatt was he just rambled about nonsense, and it's like, no, you actually have to have a point about what you're saying. That's what differentiated Jake's from his. All right, this is the last one. Oh wait, we got two more. We got two more in the bottom here. We have yet another. Of course, he's overpushed even in toy form. Another Triple H, a modern crew cut Triple H. I always thought he looked like Obadiah Stane from the first Iron Man movie, the Jeff Bridges. I can just see Triple H going, Tony! But there we are, that's a modern-ish Triple H. He feels a little chunkier than some of the other more modern figures. And then finally, yes, here is, a good one to finish off with, because someone who I'm still quite a fan of, we got Finn Balor, the original, the real rock and roller. Finn Balor, the first member of the Bullet Club, the original leader. A guy, again, whose career he's collecting a paycheck and he's doing a great job, but it's like, I just can't watch you under the WWE lens. It's just tough. But he's great, absolutely phenomenal. It's a shame that, you know, he had his great gimmick on the indies of doing the face paint, and WWE were like, oh, we can market this, and then they just didn't really do much with it. But also I can see why he was probably okay with dropping it, because, God, the amount of hours it must have taken to do that makeup. Whew! And guys, there we go. That is the crazy, huge WWE unboxing there. That was really good fun. So I'm going to stick these on eBay and see what we get for them. But it's not a bad haul there. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Go check out eBay for a random WWE haul. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.